Have you ever had a dream, a longing that speaks to your deeper places? And what if your passion was your work? Meet artist Chris Wilson and his dream, a man who taught college art for close to 40 years, then planned and painted his way toward his passion.
It is the passion for the visual environment that governs all that I do. What passes through my eyes is what sustains me at my core.
The seeds of Chris's dream were planted during a trip to Japan in the mid-90s with a group from Barton College where Chris taught art. There he developed a passion for ukiyo-e woodblock prints by Andro Hiroshige based on sketches made in 1823 along the 200-mile pathway between Edo, now Tokyo, and Kyoto, the old capital.
And I began thinking that when I got back to Edgecombe County, perhaps I would do something like scenic views of the Tar River. It just did not have adequate compositional variety. Maybe I should broaden my idea from the Tar River to something all across the state.
And then he thought about Highway 64, North Carolina's longest road, the one that runs from Manteo to the Tennessee border.
The whole idea began to take shape, a comprehensive scenic portrait of the state of North Carolina. So I got a North Carolina Department of Transportation road map and drew out 64. I made a list of things to go look for, to go try to find. It's been something of a quest. US 64 maintains a link with its history and its heritage and the culture that grew up in North Carolina. And so I think it's probably that character that originally called me.
100 large-scale paintings, at least one from each of the 24 counties the highway passes through. Portraits of rivers, hills, and valleys along the road or within 10 miles of 64. Some well-known landmarks, but mostly ordinary scenes, the kind you pass every day and may not even see.
But I'm also pursuing those common transitory things, trees, sunrises, fog, things that are the mood of the place at a given moment in time, things that perhaps are ephemeral and that have changed already since I did the paintings. Subject matter completely on its own is never very satisfying to me because of my early training as an abstractionist. Art is a combination of what you see and what you know and what you feel. Those things in different proportions for different individuals is what constitutes a style or a way that you approach making art.
And then Chris packs up his sketch pad and heads back down 64 toward home, to this historic house in Wilmington.
When I come in off 64 after a sketching trip and image gathering trip, first thing I do is usually label the images in terms of what county they are. And I often photograph things in series, taking multiple images so that it's panoramic, and then put those images together. And so it ends up being something that makes a more dramatic, scenic vista. End up with the kinds of images like this that potentially will end up being the final product.
The final product is big, 16-foot paintings that stretch across a whole wall.
The scale really is about my belief that it fits the mission statement that I wrote for myself, which is to engage the viewer in a way that being in front of the painting is an experience as it would be as if you're actually at the scene. The scene that's pictured in this painting is down in Washington County near Lake Phelps. I think people respond to this painting particularly because of the vast open space, and in spite of the fact there's a strong focal point in the middle, the eye doesn't stick there but travels throughout the space because of the clusters of trees in either corner. This painting is based upon the tornado that went through Raleigh in April of 2011. Looking from Carolina Pines, in spite of the destruction, the new scenic vista that opened up of the South Saunders Street skyline was something like witnessing the birth of a new scenic landscape. A painting has, especially a large painting, probably has 1 million decisions go into that painting. It really is about standing before that big blank canvas and being able to fully visualize what the outcome needs to be. So what I have here are simply the notations to myself of the big shapes, the locations, and a few things to remind me what's important about the composition. I think that there's an honesty in the work when a painter is painting what they know best.
Chris grew up in South Georgia, but has become a North Carolinian and a North Carolina regional artist. He paints with an insider's eye and loves places like this.
Tarboro Common is keen interest to me because of my living in Edgecombe County and near Tarboro for more than a quarter of a century. It is a beautiful place in the middle of a lovely small town. It's also the second oldest town common in the nation. The only one that's older is the Boston Common. It's part of my home. It's part of who I have become. Many of the paintings that I have worked on just have a native, indigenous look about them because they belong to part of everybody's consciousness about what North Carolina looks like.
We see with our memories, a tapestry of unique images and experiences. Chris has the talent to draw us in and make us see like he does.
The painting that I'm currently working on is from Coquina Beach. I went there one morning expecting a foggy sunrise, something that was misty looking, and it just wasn't happening. But what happened was so much more interesting and dramatic than what I had envisioned. The marvel of the sky that morning, it only existed for 10 minutes and it disappeared with the sun's angle changing. And I hope that somehow viewers of the painting will take away something of that feeling that I had when I was actually standing there that morning.
And now it's done. This painting anyway. What will it be like when Chris touches the final dab of paint to the last of his Scenes from 64 series?
I'm sure there is likely going to be some enormous gratification when I can say, okay, this is number 100, this is what I said I was going to do. Ultimately, my goal would be to have the paintings travel across the state. I'm already doing that in small venues. My real goal would be to have, at some point, one exhibition that has all of the paintings in the same place at the same time. I may have to hire a warehouse.